Arkham Asylum has existed in Batman stories for decades. It's always been a symbol of madness, corruption, and failure. A place where Gotham sends its monsters when it doesn't know what else to do with them. But the Absolute Batman Arkham special doesn't just revisit Arkham, it reinvents it. The story reframes Arkham Asylum not just as a building, but as a consequence. In 1945, Dr. Amadeus Arkham begins writing what he calls a confession, a final account of the secrets he's taking to his grave, and a warning about the evil he believes he set into motion. What follows isn't just the history of an institution, it's the story of how trauma echoes across generations, how good intentions rot, and how a place built to heal the broken slowly becomes something that creates monsters instead. The Arkham special asks a terrifying question. What if Arkham was never corrupted? What if it was cursed from the very beginning? But this book doesn't just serve as an Arkham origin, it serves as an addition to Joker's origin, a crucial Gotham tale, and a warning for what Batman is up against. And make sure you stick around till the end because the Joker lays out the future villains of the Absolute Batman story, and we need to talk about them. I'm Kel McCall, and welcome to the Absolute Bat. Let's dive in. We open our story in 1945 where Dr. Amadeus Arkham is selling Arkham Asylum. Through his conversation with the buyer, we learn the asylum's history. In the late 1800s, Arkham was just a boy. As he and his family await his father's return from war, they grow restless. One day, they think their wait has ended when a soldier comes walking up the driveway, but their joy quickly turns to sorrow as the man informs them that Arkham's father had died in a battle that was still going on after the war had ended, a pointless death. Arkham's mother gave into rage as she killed the man giving the news and all of her children except for Amadeus and herself, revealing to the reader that the Arkham story is one of tragedy. But Amadeus Arkham seemed to be a resilient fellow. After growing up in an orphanage, he pursued his dream of opening a mental facility/reform prison that would help patients that struggled like his mother did. But when Arkham purchases the land for the asylum, you can feel something is off. Gothamites call this land cursed because it is soaked in the blood, pain, and madness of prisoners of war held by the British during the Revolutionary War. But Arkham buys it anyways. As the brand new Arkham Asylum opens, they are helping people and the doctor is satisfied, but things do become more tense as we learn about a patient who sounds a lot like the classic Joker. Arkham won't even tell us his name, so we call the grinning, laughing, murderous man Jack Doe. Not long after, a boy shows up at Arkham's house covered in blood, lost, and confused, so Arkham takes him in as his son. The boy is amazed by Arkham Asylum and begins helping out and exploring the place. In 1945, Arkham tells the buyer that the worst of the asylum was when Jack Doe grabbed the young boy and held a knife to his throat, but the boy never seemed afraid of Doe. Then the buyer presses an issue about the story. He has done his research on the place and wants to hear about a darker story from the asylum, a breakout, where guards were killed and prisoners dug a tunnel out of Arkham Asylum through a basement furnace room. But the worst of it was that the boy was gone, and Arkham suspected that Jack Doe took him. And there he lost the boy forever, always thinking about a phrase the boy would tell him: tomorrow is a new page. Arkham tells the buyer he believes Jack Doe to be the worst serial killer of all time, Jack the Ripper, and proceeds to call him a man who might be more than human but evil himself, a smiling demon, a hellish jokester. Then the buyer asks to go down to the furnace room, and when they go down, he begins to ask Arkham questions about the patched bricks, where the prisoners broke out. He asks what the second patch of bricks were from, and then asks, "What else have you never noticed about this place, Doctor?" Because Arkham had never seen the second patch of bricks. And then the buyer shocks Arkham to his core and whispers tomorrow is a new page into his ear, and lets himself out saying he loves the place and intends to buy it. And that's when Amadeus Arkham finds Jack Doe's body behind the second patch of bricks and confirms to us that the buyer was not only the little boy he had so long ago and treated like a son, but the buyer is Jack Grimm, the Joker. He buys Arkham Asylum from Dr. Amadeus Arkham and renamed it to Ark M. And as we know, he has many more ARK facilities as well. This is where monsters like Bane were created. But it is revealed that the Doctor was sending this letter to the GCPD, so who knows what really was or wasn't affected by that. Then we go to our modern day story where Joker is showing a man clips of Batman, to which the man responds, "Well, that's cute," and goes on to say Batman is no real threat. And the man is revealed to be Deathstroke, who will come in Absolute Batman 19, but Joker reveals the villains he will be putting in front of Deathstroke, as we see Jack Grimm is pulling every single string in this story. He had Black Mask on payroll, he was working with Freeze Jr., and he created Bane at Arkham. And now he is sending Batman his newest villains, Kirk Langstrom Man-Bat, Pamela Isley Poison Ivy, Hugo Strange, Jonathan Crane Scarecrow, Basil Karlo Clayface, and Jarvis Tetch, the Mad Hatter. And that's the end of the issue. So this really springs us into what feels like the next chapter for Absolute Batman. After we got the Bane story and the Joker origin, Batman will finish up the Wonder Woman crossover story, which I will cover in the next coming weeks. And now we are going into the Batman versus his rogues and entering a long game with Joker. I'm pumped to see where this goes. But let's talk about some of these new villains. People have been hyping up the idea of Absolute Scarecrow since the beginning, and you know he is going to be a straight up horror villain. That could end up being a very, very dark issue for the reader and Batman. All we know is fear would definitely be pushed to its limits. The first two we will be getting are Poison Ivy and Man-Bat, I assume because we see Joker open up their cells. I think that they could be similar, although the roots of Ivy look like they could be potentially very overwhelming and more extreme than her normal counterpart. And Man-Bat already has a darker story, so I'm excited to see the twist there. Clayface I think will be very monster-esque at times, and maybe very sneaky at other times. Another one that could ride that horror vibe along with Hugo Strange. I think it would be cool if he was just making monsters and maybe even played a hand in making this team of monsters. And then Mad Hatter is the one that I don't have that many theories about, so let me know what you think he could be like. He's already a little creepy devil, so that's the Arkham special. I'm pumped now that we kind of have a villain roadmap for some future issues of Absolute Batman. And if you liked this video and want to top off Absolute Joker's origin, I covered everything we know about his origin story in this video right here. So go watch that and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.